How's it going?
Hey,
Posted.
hey. I'm going to go ahead and do my little introduction and then we'll hop right into it.
Yeah, yeah.
Welcome again. Welcome again to another episode of Skoden Talks with the Homies with your host, Auntie Stage. IP3 is an organization that provides nonviolent direction action training, campaign strategy, and community organizing tools to support Indigenous communities taking action in defense of their homelands. For more information about IP3 or to send community training requests, you can visit our website at ip3.org or contact info@ip3.org. And today our guest is Mr. Tre from Manitoba, I believe, correct?
Correct. Bonjour, Wani, my people.
So if you'd like to give us a little introduction, we can hop right
Yes,
into it.
yes, definitely. So, as you know, I am from Pine Creek, Manitoba, but also from my other side of the family. My dad's side of the family. My aunties and them are from Sagkeeng. So I am Ojibwe, partly Mohawk, and French DNA in me. So I'm mixed. I'm not fully full blooded, but I know who I am as Anishinaabe, especially as one of the original people of the land, as to my ancestral land, who bypass and pass that down to their next generations as they had taken care of this land and more on and more on. So, as you know, I am First Nation Indigenous Warriors. I've been doing this since 2017. Been on the front line for quite some time. Not only do we just take action for injustices, but we also help out with searching for our missing. We participate in community activities and cultural events such as rallies, protests about certain things that happen when our elders, our women's demands are not being met. Um, we do this in the most peaceful way and in the most historically way, if you know what I mean by that. Meaning, we have inspiration to why we do this. This takes place in to the moment that had happened in the 1990s of the Oka crisis, the Mohawk crisis that had happened. So, as there was an inspiration to First Nation Indigenous warriors, we also take that whole view look as the camouflage wear, as the camouflage is an inspiration to us, as the camouflage has many symbolic gestures behind it, such as Mother Earth and such as fighting for true justice. When we are fighting for pursuing true justice, we want it to stand out more like the people, meaning we don't want to wear like we don't want to look like citizens. We don't want to look like as if we're just like wearing just normal clothes. We want it to look deadly and in the most peaceful but loving way to let our people know that we are here for them, just like the army is there for their own people. Like the Canadian Army is there for Canadian citizens, the American military is there for American citizens. Well, the Indigenous Resistance is here for our first original people of this land who've been oppressed, who've been sexualized by priests, by all kinds of people, including within our own family members of our whoever it may be. We stand up to anything against racism, anything to do that when something needs to be addressed, whenever those people speak, whenever the family members decide to say enough is enough, they're the voices that we are to defend and protect and to make sure that all that family that's there, including the little children, the nieces, the nephews, are well protected and have their voices heard as well as demanding justice. As you know, we've been doing this, like I said, for 2017 now, but it goes way further than that. It goes to the to why we do this and how come we do this. You know what happened at Standing Rock was a big eye opener for all of us too. What we saw at Standing Rock in 2016 and in the beginnings of the actions that happened to prior to Standing Rock, and the way that our people were being treated at Standing Rock for fighting for the water. Water is life. For standing for the people down there in South Dakota, North Dakota, all over that Lakota Cheyenne territories, and the Pawnee as well well as the Shawnee and our other beautiful allies down there, we stand strong and we stand side by side. That had opened up our minds to start a movement in 2017 because of the way that they were spraying water on them, the way that they were treating them for defending the water, and how things were happening at Standing Rock had to be the red line drawn. But Tina Fontaine, when she disappeared, when she was found in the river in the body in the no in the garbage bag, and she was and yeah, so she it was right by the Alexander Docks down in here in Winnipeg, Manitoba at the Red River. That's what really made us mad because there was no justice for her family. There was no justice for her. She was 14 years old and she was 30. She was she was 16 years old or 15. She was 15 years old. So sorry about that. She was 15 years old. But even still, that's there's more than just that what meets the eye. You know, there's a lot of things with men all over the place, even including within our own street life, who are being thugs and gangsters and stuff like that. So it's a process of assimilation that has happened in the course of years that had passed on as the government tried to segregate us and close us off into reservations and that. Gangs started to come in the boat, but it was the wrong way of being assimilated because they wanted to assimilate us into their country and to their citizens of society, which led to breakdowns of poverty and more violence and residential school, boarding school, Milliam Scoop, 60 Scoop, CFS, family services, taking our children away from their homes and placing them in stranger homes where violence and sexual abuse occurs, bringing our family generations to a total destruction where now the warriors have to rise up and call on other young men to join as well and to stop with the violence of our own people and to understand that we've been having violence upon us since over 500 years, so it's been happening to us. But now, when does it stop and how does it stop? Now we need to rise up and now we need to call on the young men to say enough is enough and let us educate your mind on what it means to be a real warrior, what it means to live off the land, to hunt, to fish, to stand by your woman, and to hold your tongue whenever she speaks, especially when you step out of line as a warrior, because sometimes we do step out of line. There's a time and place where we have to listen to our women and we have to listen to her because she's the one that will stand with us, stand for us, and she will even stand behind us when we're not even there. So it is important to protect her voice. It is important to protect the children's voice because the children are the next generation and the women are the ones who give life and bring life upon Mother Earth, in which we have to protect that. And for those generations of those little children, we have to make sure that their voices are being heard so that they're able to use their voices in a respectful manner as they grow and understand what it means to be a warrior, to live off the land, to do what it means to provide for your family and to protect your family. So all of this has to come with a heart of understanding, and it has to come with the observant. You have to be really observant because it's really dangerous out here when we're dealing with so much chaos. It's not just the chaotic chaos that's happening out here. It's in fact to that part where it's dangerous out here because we're on the streets every day. And when we're on the streets every day, we're in Winnipeg, Manitoba, where high poverty is rated here. And it's not just here in Winnipeg, it's all over the states, it's all over reservation, it's all over the cities. But when we're placed in the city and they make us live in a certain area where it's ghetto, they call it the hood, that's where we need to be to protect those people that are living life as homeless and as going through something that they should have never been through in the first place. Meaning, what got them there is the government had placed them there in the first place, because the government does not give a shit about none of our people, especially when they come into from the reservation to come and live in the city. First thing they do is kick them down and take away jobs from them, and we're struggling out here. And then they place us in system and care where everything has happened to us even more. So everything that had happened, what we see with the abuse that happens today, as it goes on, as especially now, we're sick and tired of the fact that our people are still being abused. Our children are still being taken into CFS, into child care services. We're still mad the fact that unmarked graves are still happening. We're so mad that even that landfill, that the garbage hills are full of our women. And if we combine the Every Child Matters movement of those unmarked graves who are in the unmarked graves right now, and if you combine those with the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, you combine those two together, you have a major genocide on their hands. You have both women and children killed and buried under the same ground in which those priests and in which those government had, and those art officers and those military officers of those redcoats have placed our women and children under. And the fact that the government, the UN, the ICC, International Criminal Court justice system are not doing nothing about it, not looking into this, not doing nothing about it, makes us really upset to the part where we have to stand out. Because when we speak up for our people, when something does happen, nobody speaks up for our people. The European Union doesn't speak up for our people. Africa doesn't speak up for our people. The Chinese doesn't speak up for our people. The Koreans, the Japanese, the Russians, and they go all over the world. You see it. They don't speak for our people. They don't say, hey, look what's happening in Canada, or look what's happening in the United States. There's a genocide happening by the same government that's been in power for over how many hundreds of years, over how many centuries ago, So we, the people who are just living lives according to our ways, we're just living lives the way we want to. Some of us had just decided to say, you know what, we're gonna give up our drinking life, we're gonna give up thugging, we're gonna give up hustling, and we're gonna turn it all around, and we're gonna give back to the community after what we have taken from the community, so that we can make our community more stronger and more unity, and we can provide for our people even more, and not just to show the neighborhood, but to show the world that there's natives out here that are rising up. Not all natives, I'm going to say this, not all natives are drunks, drug addicts, and killers. We are in university, we are powwow dancers, we are sun dancers, we are traditional medicine healers, we are warriors, we are protectors, and we are definitely doing what we can to bring those old ways back. And we are trying our best to walk in peace, though that everything around us is surrounded by war. I want to remind the people right now that we've been at war, and we're still at war. We've been at war for over 500 years, since 1492, and it continues. And when they took our guns away, they said that they promised us a country, they promised us a nation, that they would take care of us and bring hospitals to our reservation, bring doctors, bring food to us, and that they will heal us and help us, but they have not yet done that. So basically, they took away our guns, our rights, and just to assimilate us into their country even more, to find out that we don't get nothing like that besides racism and inequality, and which we are now fighting for. And what we have to do to protect ourselves is the most aggression way. I don't mean to say aggression, because we're not being aggressive, but when cops and other people decide to come at us when defending our sacred ground, let's say defending our water, we're making sure that our women are being protected and that we're getting them out of that landfill. But whenever cops decide to come and arrest us, they're stepping in between something that is a crime scene, and not just a crime scene, but a crime against humanity, in which these governments, including the Empire of Britain, I'm talking about it, Great Britain, France, Spain, and Portugal, all have something to do with genocide upon Turtle Island, all the way down to South Brazil, to Chile, Argentina, Mexico, all the way up here to all over the place, all over the world. So now we are reaching out to other people across Turtle Island, and not just across Turtle Island, but across the world, where we can definitely rise up, right? We can finally connect together. We can unite together. We can finally find a common ground where we can finally stand up, stand up to the we can stand up to oppression, to tyranny, to whatever's been holding us down for centuries, right? So at the same time, I just want to let you all know that it's hard out here doing it, because I get backlash from all over the place. I even get backlash for not being a fully blooded Indigenous person that I should be, you know what I mean? But I let them know that as long as I know who I am, where I come from, and what I am true to my Anishinaabe nation, and I am true to who I am as an Ojibwe from Sagkeeng and Pine Creek, and partly Mohawk with French DNA. I want to let them know that there's good people out here, who are holding it down, who are not just, aggressors, or let's say, people who just want to stand behind barricades. They want to help with bringing justice to the table by sitting in meetings with those families and hearing what they have to say, so that they can come up with a better solution. So all this from searching the landfill has happened in, let's say, 2018. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the landfill too, okay, guys? So the landfill started in the landfill has always been the landfill, but our movement happened because of Melissa and George Robinson. Both of them had come to First Nation Indigenous Warriors to ask to come participate in their meetings, and which my Uncle Joe and my Uncle Vern had said yes to, and everybody else agreed to be part of these meetings. And that, as being part of these meetings, this happened around let's say 2022 in November. So at late November, early December-ish is when the meetings were taking place. So things weren't going as expected, that the families expected, because Danny Smythe, the police chief at that time in 2022, said that it was up to the family members of Harris family and the Myron family of Long Plain of Manitoba Treaty 1 territory, which is Anishinaabe territory, said that it was up to them to search for their loved ones, that they can't do nothing about it, that it's up to the families. Well, that made them really upset. That made them so mad. Not mad, but it really made them upset. It broke their hearts that they had to come and get us to be a part of these meetings. We've been part of these meetings, and then finally nothing was going expected as expected to. December 11th and December 12th came by. We decided to take action by going out to the landfill and creating a few barriers with our cars, not fully blocking the road officially, but letting them know that we are there temporarily to block these roads, to let them know that we will shut this landfill down if there's no searching for our sisters in those landfills. And they didn't listen to us. So we would do a blockade for a couple of days, and then we'll stop for a couple of days, and we'll go back again for a couple of days, and we'll stop again for a couple of days. All led up to December 18th, from December 12th or 11th to the 12th to December of 18th. It led to us to officially establishing a camp there, which lasted for 2 years at the landfill. And hold on a second. As it happened, we stayed there for 2 years under the pretext of bringing justice for our sisters that are in the landfill. The names were Morgan Harris, a Buffalo woman who is now Ashley Shingoose. At the time, we didn't know who Buffalo woman was. We didn't even know what name that would have came up with. There was a jacket from Ashley Shingoose, who her father had, that the police had, that they gave to him, wondering where his daughter was. His name's Albert Shingoose. He was wondering where his daughter has been for the last how many years that he's been looking for her. Could not find no trace of her. George also was looking for Ashley Shingoose, who was helping Albert, the father of Ashley Shingoose, help locate his daughter, but there was no case leading to it. So it happened to that part where they had to wait. We had to go through court with them too. We had to sit with them. We had to sit with court. We had to sit in them with court, and we had to hear the testimonies. We had to hear about the sick stuff that Jeremy had done to the women in an interview that the court had played out. And it was really sick. It was really devastating. It was also, it gave us, everybody, mixed emotions, being angry, being mad, wanting to do something about it, but knowing that if we were to do something about it, we would get charged, violence, this and that. So a lot of us kept our cool. So we had to sit through the court. Ashley Shingoose's family, Albert, and all of them were coming in, and they were a part of these the cases too, because they were wondering where their daughter has been. But the judge and the prosecutors said that there's no leads to her, so they didn't fully let's say, how do I explain this? They didn't tell him about that they couldn't find her and this and that. So it broke his heart. It broke his heart that to the part where he was crying, like he was expressing his feelings out there in front of everybody, including the prosecutors, including me, some of the family members that were there, that he's not going to stop until he finds his daughter, and that we were going to be there with him. So now it led up to new cases while searching the landfill. I led up to new cases where I'm not going to get into those details because some of it I can't really speak about it due to personal details, I guess, which I respect due to the family, because if it wasn't for the family, none of this would have happened. So I always got to say it, that the families had, that it was the families, that if it wasn't for the Harris family, First Nation Indigenous Warriors would never have been way up this way, especially with them, So the families, if it's with their approval, that we will talk about it, but if it does not have their approval, that we will respect their approval until they say it's okay for us to talk about that personal situation or whatever happens. So, but there was a leading cases that led up to searching the landfill while they were searching the landfill, and it turned out that Ashley Shingoose is in Brady landfill, as well as Tanya Nepanak. And Tanya Nepanak is another, she's from my reservation. Her family, the Nepanak family, is from my reservation of Pine Creek, Manitoba as well, come from Treaty 4 territory. So I'm also standing in solidarity with the Nepanak family just because of their family knowing my family and of where we come from at the same time. So it comes to that part where something needs to really happen, because we've been out here for 4 seasons already. We've been out here winter, spring, summer, and fall. So we've been through the coldest months, where it was blistering cold, hypothermia, minus 45. I guess the coldest has it ever gotten while being out there was minus 45 with minus 30 temperatures. So it was basically like 50 below. And that was pretty much the situation in the wintertime. See, in the wintertime of Camp Morgan, we had to go through a lot of situations going on there, especially like death threats, people wanting to come and ram their cars through our camp. So many death threats were occurring upon us, and a lot of people too would
Were these like
come up out of
government
nowhere.
bars? Or are they
Yeah,
just people from the town?
yeah. So like, some of these would be just like town folks, people that are just like coming in to see how they could how do I explain it? I don't want to explain it that way. it's like distraction, you know, it's like a big distraction where it comes where we're doing something so peacefully, and then someone's paid somebody to go and start something up, and then all of a sudden like they want us to react to that with like violence and that, but nothing happens. So, and then um they get impatient or something like that, and then they start coming in fully with full uniforms and stuff like that, meaning like police officers will start coming through harassing us and things like that, I guess. And but you know, like being at Camp Morgan shows us where our hearts at, because it made us the people that we are today. If it wasn't for the families, and the families had also a lot of death threats to them too, right? So we had to make sure that we were gonna be sure that we were gonna do this till the very end, even till the very end, that we're still gonna be doing this. But you know, like Camp Morgan has also shown us the unity within people that came from all over the place, that came to support Camp Morgan, from South Dakota to the Mississippi River, to the Six Nations, to the nations of BC, and some nations, like some indigenous nations. I can't really like, I could speak, but I can't pronounce the names, so that's kind of hard for me to. I get tongue twisted sometimes when pronouncing some of our names. But we had a lot of people from South Dakota to come and support us and whatnot when 2013 or 2023 was coming down, and the blockades were coming in. See, what happened was, because Heather Stephenson had said no to the search in the landfill. When she said no, that's when blockades and barricades came up, and things were going to hit the fan, because we told the families that we were going to be there till the very end, and that we weren't going to leave them until something had happened. So sorry guys, I'm just finally getting home right now. So I was just at the landfill, and we were just doing a little cleanup over there and whatnot. So feel free to ask me a question anyways, because I think I overtalked, so I'm not sure if I did have.
No, you are just fine. We've kind of touched around on just everything that I wanted to ask. Just to kind of get kind of start from the beginning, just a refresher. Was there like a specific moment in your life that got you passionate about direct actions and being a voice for the people? Was there like anything that had happened for you to be like, hey, I want to do this for my people? Or you talked about also being like, was there something that someone said to you about being full blood or not being full blood to make you stand up and be like, no, I am a part of this, you know, touch about any of that?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So going back, I could start and say this, that what had caused me to do such a thing like this, and to wear the same camouflage, and to really feel encouraged about and encouraged and confident about my duty, is because of yeah, I had some people say that, you know, only full-blooded Indians should be doing this, and I'm like, yo, I know my ancestors, I know who I am, and it really did get to me. So I had to look into my family history, and when I found out that my family history was like the bomb, it was like the best. Even though I knew that I had like white blood in me, honestly, I could honestly say that my grandma, who was amazing in that, and for like meeting, you know, other people in her past time, is amazing, because I have a big family, and you know, my grandmas were loyal women to their men too, so they were really trying to make their tribe big, right? So, but when it comes down to it, they fell in love with you know, a few people down the line. But going back to the 1600s, you know, my family, as being as fur traders and stuff like that, intermarrying with other tribes across Turtle Island, and that, you know, there was a time when the British and French were at war with each other, and the British were killing half breeds who were half French, half just half breeds. Anybody, if you're half Ojibwe, half French, they're coming after you. If anything to do with French half breeds, if you're a half breed French Algonquin, French Mohawk, French Abenaki, French Ojibwe, French Blackfoot, Sitka, French Cree. You're an enemy to the British anyway. So that's basically what was going on in those times, where they had to come through passages just to get to the Red River Valley here, which is here in Manitoba. Um, Sagkeeng towards Sagkeeng and Pine Creek, which is called Sagkeeng is called mouth of the river. That's what Sagkeeng is. That's the name for Sagkeeng. Sagkeeng means mouth of the river. Fort Alexander, basically, they call it of Treaty One territory. But that knowing who I am, though that I have mixed DNA in me, I told my families, and they always said to me, including my grandmas and dad, would always say to me that always remember who you are as Anishinaabe and you're Ojibwe. Remember that you're Anishinaabe, you're Ojibwe, you're not Canadian, you're Anishinaabe. And I just said, okay, that's what I'm gonna go through then. So that's what I take after as Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, and I acknowledge that I do have white blood in me. So when I go against white corporations and the white man's policy, I always tell them that a part of me is just like you. So what you're trying to do is that I'm standing up against that kind of stuff for corporations that destroy our lands for money, for greed, for their own gain, so that they can kill away our population, so that they can make their people more greater. Well, that won't even happen, because you know what? A part of me is just like them, that I'm willing to stick up for my people of Turtle Island all over the place. I don't care what background they have or what they are. I love them for being who they are and for being loving. And we all bleed the same blood. We all drink the same water, breathe the same air. So I always tell that to the white man, so that if you're gonna try to go about this way, that there's gonna be hardcore allies and resistance everywhere. That we are gonna step up to this. And I always tell them what made me do this is because when I think back and I think about people like I'm gonna talk about a few things like Sitting Bull, Crazy Horse, Geronimo, Chief Pontiac. I think about our powerful leaders like we got Dennis Banks, we have Russell Means, and we have Leonard Peltier. We have a lot of people out there who've been a very inspirational leaders to their people, who decided to step up at a time that was needed, in a time that something or someone was looking for a group of people to help fulfill their justice, because somewhere in this down the line that there was no justice for the families that were happening. So when I think about Dennis Banks, Russell Means, I think about the 1973 movement that had happened in Wounded Knee area of the standoff that took place against Dick Wilson, and the 1990s of the Mohawk crisis of Oka that happened 78 days, 78 day standoff from July 11th to September 26th, and which involved over thousands of SQ officers and 4,000 Canadian military soldiers to remove certain people away from the barricade, in which these Mohawks were supported from all over the nation, and people that were stepping up to this army were just none than a group of original Indigenous people who were like me and like you and like other people who, just had enough of injustices and inequality happening upon themselves, made by the government, and things that are happening to their land. Like, for an example, establishing a golf course for old men to play golf for the rich area, and for a pipeline that will destroy water systems and systems like that of Standing Rock and that of other places. Things like that has to start a fire within our hearts and say no more. And that's, if nobody's going to step up, then I'm going to step up and be the one to do it. It takes one or two people, one to move 1,000, but 2 to move 10,000, but 3 to move 100,000, and 5 to move 1,000,000 by voice. So if we can do this peacefully and respectfully, but we have to remember too that it's also respect and peace also goes to them, that if they come to us in in the most aggressive way, we have no choice but to protect ourselves and defend ourselves, because who stand behind us is our children and our family members, those who cannot defend themselves, those who cannot speak for themselves. We have to be the ones to take it seriously, that we will never surrender. And Geronimo and those who said that we will never surrender, we have to take that very seriously, that we will never surrender. And we will not surrender, because it is through them and through our resistance is the reason for our existence, is why we exist today, is because of our resistance for saying no and not surrendering. And we got to keep that up, and we got to make sure that we keep speaking up, we keep using that voice, and we keep encouraging the people in which they want to see, and not what they want to see, but what they want to see the actions of that person be fulfilling, and not words coming out of that person's mouth. Because anybody could speak great, anybody could speak nice, anybody could speak about bringing justice and doing things, but it takes a real few people to actually take action and make it happen. Because you can speak up, but nothing will get done. But when you take action, sure enough, things are going to get done, and going to say, you know what, these people are like, seriously. See, what scares the government, probably, I don't want to say like that, what scares some of the higher ups in the establishment is because they have a paycheck. They have a paycheck, and they want to do this for a paycheck. They want to make sure that they put food on the table for their kids and for their wives and stuff like that. But for us, it's more like we're willing to die for this. We're willing to give up what we have. We're willing to step up, and we're willing to give up our last breath and our last man to protect our child and protect that person. We're not doing this for no paycheck. So that's not why we're scared. We'll never be scared. We are scared. I'm going to say it that way. We are scared, but we're not scared because we got encouragement. And what's the opposite of being scared? It's called encouragement. You have to face your fear when you know that something is wrong, and something that's, if it's not right, and when you know it's not right, you have to do something about it. You have to step up. You have to say no more, enough is enough. Because what will Creator say to you when that time comes and says, you know what? Creator will say whatever the Creator wants to say. It's not up to me to put things in the Creator's mindset. But what I'm trying to say is that when we see something that is happening that's not right, and we have a consciousness about it, and we decide to say, hey, we're not going to step up and we're just going to walk away from it. Well, you know what I mean? That's saying like, okay, well, we're just going to turn a blind eye and we're just going to let things happen. You know what I mean? But if we see something that's actually like not right, and something needs to be done, and we do something about it by stopping it and not letting it go escalate even further, you know, Creator's going to reward us for that. And that reward is greater than that living in the physical realm in which we live in. See, the spiritual world is another place of eternal life. And that's the things that we do here for the people will be remembered for 1,000 years and for 1,000 years to come. That if we do this rightly, and if we protect and safeguard those who are helpless, those who are voiceless, those who don't have nobody to turn to or listen to, we be the ones to help that person out and uplift that person back to his feet or her feet, and that person will thank us. And as long as we keep our word by showing the world, and not just the world, but also behind closed doors, when we go behind and we go home to our bedrooms, and we decide to go on that bed, and that we are to keep it real with ourselves, because those spirits see everything and what they see behind these closed doors. We are to be truthful, honest, as the 7 teachings are, that we are not to play games, we are not to play around, we are not to take this as for granted, because the Creator will knock those off their high horses who think that they're doing this for their own selves, for their own power and their own gain, so that they can gain an audience or some support or something like that. You know what I mean? So I always tell them that This is not for me. This is for the people, and for the people that I will always speak for the people, because that is my true duty and my obligation and my oath to fulfill. And I don't drink. I don't drink because I like to be the example of why we don't drink. Alcohol destroys. Don't stop me from letting other people have a good time. If you want to have a good time, that's up to you. But what I'm trying to say is that if we're in the movement and we are trying to bring true justice for our people, we have to have a sober mind while doing this, because in the movement it's required to have ceremony over drinks. And ceremony over drinks any day. Healing is every day. And healing is what we can learn, and learning from what we can understand to never do it again, or to just say, hey, we've been through this, we've done it. Let's just move on now, and let's bring true justice and love for our people. Because what we were once were immature, now we could be mature and have a full conversation and have educational purposes to educate the young minds, and those, especially those who are stuck in alcoholism, who can't get out, that they'll hear our words and they'll say, hey man, that's the guy I want to listen, because if he did it, if he's done it, and if she's done it, I can do it too. And that's the kind of encouragement we want to bring upon people, is that if we can do it, you can do it too. You know, we want to call all gangs, anybody who's a gangbanger, anybody who's drinking alcohol, anybody who's shooting up in their veins, smoking up in that, anybody who's just doing their own thing. You know, it takes love and compassion and a heart of a warrior to touch that person's heart and relit a flame within themselves, so that that person encourages them and motivates them and say, hey man, you know, I have a testimony now and a story to tell for that next person who is also going through what I'm going through, so that that person can relate to me and I can relate to that person, so that we can uplift each other and support each other and support one another in this conflict. Because remember, we're all in this together, and we didn't ask to be in this, but they placed us in here. So now it's up to us to support each other and to love each other in that, but also to educate each other on where we are, where we're from, and how we can come up with a solution to end this poverty and end this so-called genocide that's happening upon our people right now. And yes, I was there in 2021 of July 1st when those statues of Queen Victoria and Queen Elizabeth II got knocked down. And we did it in response to those unmarked graves being shown at that time. And it goes way back, because we also believe and we also know that our children in the States were also have been separated, and those unmarked graves in those boarding schools as well. So we're all in this together, and we need to understand that they tried to kill the Indian and the child, and they did it, but they tried to kill us even more, but they couldn't do it. They tried to kill our seeds off, but not knowing that we would be the seeds later on to rise up and say, you know what, we will honor them and we will fulfill what they couldn't fulfill. We will honor those ancestors and we will love them, and we will remember them. And with that being said, we have to understand that the first MMIW persons cases come from those little children, those residential schools and those boarding schools, and those who were murdered all the way from Pocahontas, the real story of her, and those young little sisters who were taken by the white man at those times in those early centuries of the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, 1500s, all the way to 1492. And to say that no justice, no peace. And you know what? We honor those MMIW cases all the way going back, because they were the first of their kind of MMIW. And 100 million of our people across Turtle Island, from the Sioux to the Lakota to the Shoshine to the Crow, all the way to the Abenaki to the Ojibwe to the Haudenosaunee, Mohawk, and Mi'kmaq, all the way to to the Inuits, have been killed off by this smallpox in which they have used upon us. And so we hold to this very day, I want to say this clearly, that I hold the Anishinaabe, holds Great Britain, France, Spain, and Portugal of genocide charges to this very day, that those in power today have the power to change laws that will bring reparations back to us, but they refuse reparations. They refuse to help us. So we hold them accountable from this to this very day of their crimes against humanity, their war crimes, and their crime of aggression, in which these governments have placed during the time of colonial colonies in which they had established all over the world. And so I just want to say that I am willing to talk more about anything in which is good. I am willing to join any interview in which you guys wish to listen to. This is my first interview, by the way, through Instagram. I've never done an interview like this. I've done many interviews on news networks and stuff like that, but I've never had to do an interview like on Instagram like this. And yeah, so this is my first time, by the way.
You're all good. And also, it will be reposted on our page on YouTube. So, and it'll be edited as well. So, I think you have hit most of all of our questions that we had today. If there's anything else you would like to talk about, one thing I did want to talk about is just if there was any advice, encouragement you would give to our young people coming up into the movement or action, what would you say to uplift them or inspire them or get them motivated to do the kind of work that you get into?
Yeah. I just want to say to the younger audiences that may see this and understand that no matter how young you are or how old you can get or even where you are now, is that nobody can take your power from you. You have it all within yourself to spark that fire. So even at a young age, you can start up anytime you're now to become, if you're coming into the activists, you have to remember to always be humble about yourself. Always be humble, because humility is a big thing of the seven teachings. When we think about humility, it humbles us on how we could be to fully how we are with ourselves, how we can be within ourselves. So I want to say that humility, being humble, is a very big thing in which we all have to have, because sometimes we think in our minds it could get to us. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes we overthink about things like, if it wasn't for me, none of this would have happened. Well, that's not the kind of words we want to hear. We want to be able to say, you know what, if it wasn't for, the families, and if it wasn't for the people, none of this would have happened, because it was the people that motivated us. So I just want to say to the younger audiences that always be humble when coming in, and just be yourself. Don't ever try hard to be something else, or something that you don't need to be. Remember, always be yourself. That's exactly what you need to be, is always be yourself, because that's who you are within. Have a humble heart, and always have love in your heart, and always support those that supports you. When you have people that support you, and you support those that support you, and that you uplift your circle even more, but you also start to trust people that you bring into the movement as well. But it also starts within your heart and yourself. So um see, when I was young, I didn't really fully join the anything. See, when I was a young kid, I was busy chasing other things. I was busy chasing money, and I was busy chasing things that did not matter to my soul, and realizing that I could have been someone else at a older age as I am now. But at a younger age, we want to understand that spiritual is the way, and being humble. So Sundance, powwow, and healing is always going to be the way. The reason why I say healing is because the government tried to destroy our family generations, and so our family generations have been damaged. So we want to be the one to break that cycle, be the one to break those cycles in which the government has placed upon us. So, because all I see is a bunch of strong people just not fully knowing what to do, but all they need is good encouragement, good motivation, little young brothers and sisters. So to you little young brothers and sisters, stay humble, be strong, warrior on. Don't let nobody tell you what to do. Remember, only you can pursue your dreams. and only you have the strength and the power to change the world the way it is. And you yourself, little young brother and sister, have the power to make anything you wish to happen. So let it be known. Nobody can tell you what to do. Those who try to take your peace and those who try to bring you down will always be below you. Remember that. Love yourself, love your family, love Creator, and remember the ancestors who were there when they went through their hardest times on the earth for us as well. So, oh,
Well, someone did compliment you and said you have spoken way better now. So, and I think you did excellent today. Before we leave and close out, I always like to ask just a little questions to kind of get off subject and just a little icebreakers, I guess.
yeah.
So I always ask our guests, is there a favorite native dish that you like to cook or that you like to eat from your area?
Yo, I'm gonna say it this way, man. I like sometimes when the wild rice is pretty good. I always eat wild white. See, sometimes I can't even speak. Wild rice, pickerel was pretty good. Pickerel fish and beef hamburger soup. Hamburger soup. I gotta love it.
I went to
Hamburger soup and bannock.
Minnesota.
Fried bread and bannock. Fried bread and hamburger soup. So yeah.
I did try some moose and wild rice before, and I actually did like it. It was a little gamey, but hey, it was really good.
Actually, it is really gamey, and I did the research on this too, and it's actually it says that when we like moose meat, deer meat, when we eat like wild meat, it's actually more healthier than European food, if you know what I mean by that. So when we hunt moose, when we hunt deer, and when we go through other things, we can taste the difference between like really gamey and how like store bought food from the store, and you can see that like most of the nutrients and the minerals that are actually in that meat from the store bought meat have barely any, none in them. But when you actually eat it from like straight from the hunting, when you hunt the moose or a deer or anything like that, you taste it really gamey because it's got its actual full nutrients, which is really awesome because when you think about it, this is how they tried to destroy us in the first place in the 1800s, 1700s, that they tried to replace our food with their food. They got rid of our buffalo. Our buffalo was really amazing, man. We had a lot of buffalo, and that meat was like thick meat, like this thick meat, man. So we had good meat, and it was a nice, healthy, sustainable protein. But when they decided to get rid of our cows and our prairie chickens and other things like that that were actually beneficial to us, they started replacing it with chickens from European chickens and cows and stuff like that, which wasn't even good for us. But that's the way assimilation was for them, for us, I guess. But those who refused it, like Sitting Bull and them, kept eating wild meat like that because they didn't surrender. They weren't all about rations and taking rations from the white man at the time. So they really don't want to show them that it was all about living off the land. But I just wanted to say, like, that food that we have is really gamey. So when we try it, it's amazing, guys. It's really amazing, man. Keep eating that meat. Keep eating that moose meat. Get healthy on it.
I did that, and then I also tried like buffalo heart and buffalo brain, and that was very interesting. But it was good too. I liked it. It was in a soup.
Oh, it
But
was really good,
oh
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything that you would like to plug? Is there any events coming up? Is there any action training that y'all do in the area?
Oh,
Is
yeah,
there
yeah.
anything that you need to know about to hopefully help you financially? Is there anything that we could plug in to help send funds?
Oh yeah, I just thought. Well, there's actually something going on, but it's really nothing to do with like fundraiser or anything like that. It's just to do showing the world. Basically, what's gonna happen in in a week now is that we're gonna be confronting First Nation Indigenous Warriors is going to be confronting taxi companies, and which these taxi companies, there's two of them. One's go by as Unicity Taxi, and the second one goes by Duffy's Taxi. So these companies, these people that have been driving people around, our own people have been taking these companies. They've been using the companies, taking their cabs, have been abused by these drivers who were supposed to be respectful, and to honor their respect is to drop them off at their location respectfully without hitting on them. Well, that's not the case. The case is that most of our people that have been in these cabs, including elders as 80 years old, have been abused, have been sexually abused, and have been touched and disrespected by these drivers. So we've been trying our best to approach the situation peacefully, because we know how it's going to be like if we were to do this without any counsel and any support. We would be too aggressive. So we need our women with us on this one, and our elders, and medicine, smudge, tobacco, and sage. So at that same time, this will be happening in 2 weeks. Probably I'll be going live on Facebook. I'm usually on Facebook, so I usually do my Facebook lives. The reason why I do Facebook is because I'm more popular on Facebook than Instagram and then Twitter and TikTok. I don't even do TikTok because I get banned lots. I'm surprised I'm not even banned right now on Facebook, but I do get like in Facebook jail at times. But anyway, 2 weeks from now we'll be doing this. I'll be going live on Facebook, and then I'll go live on Instagram for this action, because we're going to be confronting the ones who are hiring the people now, because we have confronted the drivers, but we noticed that there's too many drivers out there that we don't even know who we're dealing with now. So now we're going to the directors, straight to the directors, and now we're letting them know that if you keep hiring people that you're not doing background checks on, and if you keep hiring people that you think it's okay for these people to go on the reservation and just chill there while there's no calls being made, that's suspicious activity. That should say that you guys are there for something that you shouldn't be there for. You're waiting for somebody like a drug dealer, or you're spying on somebody that owes you money, basically. So we don't want that happening, and um we don't want to say it's okay for drug dealers to be like, you know what I mean? We say the drug dealers are like just normal people as well. You know, drug dealers want to make their money and whatnot, but we also want to encourage the drug dealers not to do that. But also, if you really want to, be a warrior, come join us. Come give back to the community rather than take from the community. You know what I mean? Like, drug dealers are people too, are all over the place, but they destroy families as well when they have to make their money. I've been there. I've done that. We all done that. We all been there and done that. But it's just only a matter of time and when and how to get out of it. You know what I mean? Like I said, you just need the right type of person to be there for that person and say, hey, man, enough is enough, right? So, then again, 2 weeks from now, confronting Duffy's and Unicity Taxi, just to the amount of abuse that's happening on social media. Facebook has a lot of posts right now of these taxi companies abusing them and that, so you'll see them that some tried to kidnap them, some tried to drive away while they're stuck in the back of the taxi, and they're recording like, he's trying to kidnap me, this and that. So, and just a couple weeks, like a month ago, a sister named Macy Cobanes, who was from Buffalo Point, was ran over by a car and then hit by a taxi. And someone in the taxi was gonna try to kidnap her, but turned out that uh, taxi drove by because she was too injured to get up. So that's why that taxi just left her like that. So, but there was an incident with her friend, that her friend got hit and basically had died, and that was like 2 weeks before her incident had happened on early April. So yeah, that's kind of things we're dealing with right now, and we're also dealing here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. We have a Red River. It's called the Red River, and the Red River is known for its exclusive mysteries, meaning women been washing up, our women been washing up along the shorelines of the Red River, and children too. So we have our warriors down by the Red River all the time too, and Morgan's warriors as well. You see, I forgot to talk about a little bit more about Morgan's warriors as well. So I just want to say that Morgan's warriors is another group, that's an outreach search team. Morgan's warriors comes from the term Morgan, from Morgan Harris, who is a sister in the in the Prairie Green landfill, whose remains still remain in there, along with Mercedes Myron. And so Morgan Harris is the mother of Cambria Harris, who has also been a voice of this movement. Is also the mother of Allie Harris, who is, I believe, the second oldest, and the third oldest would be her youngest daughter would be Kira. So with those ones, I have my permission to I do have permission to speak their names and say them on any interview because yeah. Anyways, they're my sisters, and the Harris family was the one who asked First Nation Indigenous Warriors to basically be their voice for 2 years doing their while speaking for their voice at the landfill and whatnot. So they went to Ottawa, other places, got funding, federal funding and whatnot, and Morgan's Warriors to this very day, because we dedicate the name Morgan to Morgan Harris. It's a outreach group that goes out there to the homeless, because at one point, you know, our sister Morgan was homeless as well, and as well as other sisters that were a victim of Jeremy. What this man did is that he went to homeless shelters and he preyed upon them. He preyed them like a predator, like he was preying on them. So he went to go and stalk them at these shelters. So the Salam mission, and that's how he was able to get these women to his apartment. It turned out that there's like over 16 samples of DNA in his apartment from different people, including maybe a few males. Pretty much like a Jeffrey Dahmer, that guy. So that's a sick man. This Jeremy guy is a really sick man. And he's a supremacist. He believes in white supremacy. He believes that he was doing God a favor by removing an indigenous by removing indigenous women from the earth. He said that was in his interview. That's what he believes he was doing. That he was doing God a favor, which is the most sickest mindset that a person could ever have. What's made us all upset. So why Morgan's Warriors go and does their outreach work is because they look after the homeless in honor of our sisters of the landfill, and they want to make sure that the homeless as well are protected and safe as well, and fed. We got to give them sacred water and food, because food is important for all humans to eat, and water is an important thing to have as well. So yeah, water and food for our people. And I just want to say that we shouldn't be thinking about the term homeless, because our ancestors were homeless a long time ago. The reason why I say that is because we never cared for the homes in which they built for them. Remember, they came and built these homes for their own citizens to come and live on this land. And we occupy them now. But we never cared to have mansions and nice, beautiful homes in the 18, 17, 1600s. We were living in wigwams. We were living in longhouses. We were living in huts. We were living in teepees. You know what I mean? So we were living in our trap tents. Basically, we were living where we could live. We would get up and live over there and go over there and live over there. Basically, bringing our tools, our teepee poles, our sacred bundles with us. Basically, we didn't care for these homes in which we live in today. You know what I mean? So I don't like using the term homeless. Like, I don't like calling my own people homeless, just because like we were all homeless at one point. Not because of that. It's because we lived off the land, right? So that's the whole thing. That's the whole term. The real terminology of being homeless is living off the land. Let's just put it that way. So I just want to say that if we're homeless, it's because we're living off the land. So And that's Morgan's Warriors will always be there for the people. Will always be there, and they just are the most beautiful thing to do is being out there for the people in those shelters and those you know what I mean, the Salvation Army, and because a lot of society has forgot about those kind of people too, and we haven't forgot about those people. Those people have families who just as love them as we do, you know. And when we think about them, that could be like us. When we think about that person, that could be me, or that could be you, or that could be my mom, or that could be, you know what I mean. So I always look at these people as my family, as anybody. I don't care if they smell like I don't care if they stink. I'm gonna love them anyway because that's like my dad, or that's like my uncle, or that's like my niece, or that's like my auntie, or my mom. You know what I mean? Because my family's been through homelessness too, so I understand what it means to be like that. So come over here, I'll give you some love and give you something to eat and maybe a place to stay if you wish. And then, you know, maybe I'll clean you up or something like that, give you new socks, new clothes and stuff, and then out your and go about your way, you know what I mean? So but with that being said, you know, one thing for sure is bringing justice, true justice for our people and whatnot, and not turning anybody down, no matter who they are and what they are. Just giving them love and respect, and yeah, respect goes both ways. But just having a comfortable and not and the most aggressive heart will win people over. Just being loving, you know what I mean? So yeah, basically that's what it is. And I still got lots to talk about. Basically, I just don't want to take too much time up. But I'm down for more interviews, like next week maybe, or I don't know, whenever is good, I guess.
Okay. I would definitely love to hear some more. We are out of time for today, but I do want to thank you for your time, and I do appreciate you talking with us and letting us into your world and showing us what's going on in your area. And I thank you for all the work that you do and continue to do. Thank you for all your kind words, and I hope that we can uplift you. If there's anything that you want to include as we're closing out today, if there's anything, you know, if there's any kind of financial help that we could help you, anything that you want to plug to help with your cause, we'd like to know about that or anything.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely let you guys know on that too, and anything to do with pure positive intentions. Yes, definitely, I will give you an update on that too. So yeah.
All right. Well, I wish you well. I hope you do get to cracking down on these taxis, because it has happened to me personally and it is not a good feeling. And I'm glad I got out of my situation. And I know it doesn't happen to a lot of our relatives, but I'm glad someone is stepping up to them, because doing it alone, they laughed at me like I was someone silly and I was just making things up, but it was a real thing, and I had to walk home from where I got left. So it's a scary time right now to try to
Yeah.
trust someone, especially these companies that you're supposed to trust in to get you home. So I
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Thank you. Chimit.
But,
Good.
uh, so we are out of time. Thank you all for joining us for another Skoden Talks with the Homies with Tre, and we will see y'all next time. Have a good
Definitely.
evening.